sessions of this webinar. So this is webinar opening, and then we will go through the key message, presentation of the survey, and then we will have questions and answers. This webinar is composed that you can ask the questions. So in your web browser, as you are joined to this conference, you can click to register yourself as you are like raising your hand to ask questions. So let's start the first session, webinar opening. I would like to open some short presentation about the DRIVE project and its background. So, DRIVE project is in full and development and research on innovative vocational and educational skills. Main idea of the DRIVE project is a strategic cooperation on skills agenda between key stakeholders in the automotive sector. As you can see on the right side, we are cooperating between industry, trade unions, public authorities, research, education and training institutions. Itself, and the DRIVE project is a blueprint under the European Commission that is for sectoral cooperations in automotive. The blueprint, what we are, is one of 10 launch key actions of new skills agenda for Europe, which serves as a key provider for recommendations for European Commission in the skills agenda. So it means that we deliver concrete messages and also concrete actions to support skills agenda, skills needs in automotive sector in Europe. We go further. Some main data about the DRIVE project. As I said in the previous slide, it ensures that the needs of industry, in the meaning of skills needs and training needs, are reflected, on the other hand, by education to fill this gap and deliver trainings that are needed in future and upcoming automotive domain. We are focused on all levels of the automotive value chain, from development to production, suppliers, and sales. DRIVE project has 24 full partners from 11 European Union countries. That is composed by full project partners ASEA, CLEPA, and DETRIME, and we have several project associated partners to giving us advice and steering the project. The DRIVE project is, as the last sentence says, is based on the expertise and inputs from the stakeholders in the automotive sector. So we are happy that you have joined this webinar, and we will be happy if you will give us an answers to the survey to know what the sector needs. Main DRIVE objectives are listed in this slide, which are analyze the key trends in the automotive. What are these trends and what is most influencing the automotive sector? By that, define the skills and job roles needed in the future, and see also, as there is this demand, also to identify if these skills, for these skills is already some education or training offered. So to also identify skill gaps for foreseen changes in the domain. Also provide clear guidance for the education and training providers, which skills will be needed, which skills needs to be trained to support the automotive industry and future changes. Also, we are also in DRIVE project creating trainings for selected skills, needed skills and job roles, and we are creating mutual recognition of the skills and job roles across EU. That means if you go through some training, for instance, in Spain, then this training and skill level will be recognized across the Europe, for instance, in Germany and in other countries in the European Union. Also, in our project, we will provide a pilot of one 1,100 trainings across the EU in automotive domain. Project timeline. Project started in January 2018. Now we came to the phase of key stakeholder analysis in March 2019. And by mid-2019, we are planning to have outcomes of the skills analysis and define first strategic roadmap, including needs and gaps in the skills agenda. Then, continuously, we are developing policy continuously and closely working with the European Commission and deliver recommendations which are asked to be supported. And the project has 4 years, so in another year, then of course we will continue still on a strategic roadmap update, still be in touch with the stakeholders by active groups and other cooperations. And also we will implement implementation based on the analysis. We will implement and provide trainings and in the training area. So we will also upgrade and create new trainings, new curricula, and ensure transferability in EU-wide recognition. Just to see what we are also covering from the life course of the people in the industry and also outside the industry. We have here a picture from OECD, where is the picture as we are getting to new model for skills development. So it means that previously we had a primary and secondary education, tertiary, then job in the same sector, and then retirement. Nowadays, it changes, as all of you know, it changes to that, of course, primary, secondary, and we have many jobs, also for jobs, and as the world and mainly also automotive sector is changing a lot and facing disruptive changes, it requires upskilling, reskilling. It requires that people are coming from another sector, so it requires training them if they are coming to automotive sector. And also people already in automotive sector needs upskilling, reskilling, and as the environment is changing a lot. So RISE project focuses on whole life course, mainly to adult upskilling and reskilling, and also to tertiary and secondary education. So that was a quick introduction of the RISE project, and now I would like to hand over the presentation to Peter Dolejší from ASEA, our steering board leader, to say key message about this webinar and the RISE project.
Thank you very much, Jakub, and I hope that everyone can hear me. As mentioned, we as ASEA, as a European car manufacturers, we have a pleasure to be chairing the steering board of this project, based on the request from the members and the European Commission. So we are not involved, let's say, in the daily business of the project, but we would like to ensure that, let's say, the project is not only an academic exercise, but really will have benefits for the industry. And when I'm talking about industry, we are not alone there, as was already mentioned. Our co-chairs are CLEPA, our suppliers, also a TMIA, which is a European Tire Manufacturers Association, and really it is essential to underline that we want to represent the whole value chain of the automotive industry, from the suppliers, manufacturers, aftermarket. All those perspectives should be included in the project, which gives the clear value added of that. That's why we are cooperating closely with all the partners on one side, and on the other hand with the European Commission, We want to deliver the key messages not only to the project members and the industry as such, but also we hope that we'll be able to convert that into sensible policy recommendations across Europe. That's why also we want to really ask you for your help and assistance to the questionnaire, because we don't want to play only a game for 15 ASEAN members, but really to reflect the situation in the whole sector. And we think that such an exercise could really bring a very unique perspective on the future development foreseen in our sector, and of course how we all react. As was mentioned, the job roles are changing very quickly, and our employees are changing their positions and their qualification during their life. So that's why we want to have a full picture of the sector, and your help will be absolutely essential. So that's one of the key reasons why we are organizing this webinar and really trying to push you to provide us with maximum information from the questionnaire. If I summarize very simply why to do that, as I mentioned, we want to know what you think that will be the future trends in the sector, irrespective of the size of the company, irrespective of the part in the value chain where you are. But we want to have this very broad picture, what you think, and that can shape our future work. That will be, of course, a basis for some analytical work that we want to identify the foreseen skills gaps in our sector. Again, irrespective of the size and position in the value chain, we want to know your opinion. What do you think that, or what kind of skills will be needed in future? And that will be basis for the second part of the project, where you have where we have educational partners in our project, so they would try, let's say, to upgrade their curricula, their trainings, their upskilling projects towards the companies to provide you as an industry the valid input and relevant trainings. And of course, last and not least, we want to deliver the messages to the European Commission and other policymakers, so our findings are also reflected in the broader European policy. So this is the reasons why we think that this questionnaire is absolutely essential for the success of the whole project. And of course, we know that everyone is asking for some benefits from that, but we think that already from what was said during recent minutes, I think it's clear that we are absolutely convinced that it will have benefits for all the companies that will participate. So in a nutshell, we hope that with the results that of course will be public, you will receive a very colorful and credible picture of the future foreseen development of our sector, that of course you can use for your strategies, and of course not only with respect to the skills and training of your employees, but of course you can have a picture what will probably happen in the whole sector and where the sector is going. This of course can be a very interesting input for your internal policies and how to train your employees and the people that are within the sector, again, irrespective of the size of the company and irrespective of the position in a value chain. So even though you are not, let's say, using the training instrument, the partners of the project, I think that most of you is somehow cooperating with particular universities or training providers, so you can work on an individual tailor-made request for the upskilling and retraining your employees. And of course, as already mentioned, this is some kind of internal work, internal job within your company's associations, but we want to deliver that to the Commission, to the Member States and the authorities that are in charge of the education policy in the Member States and on a European level. So this is in essence why would be enormously keen that you participate in the project, and we hope that will bring you some benefit. As was already mentioned, we have our own database within the project, which is covering around 400 contacting points, and I see almost 100 is participating today. Of course, we would try as an association through our members, and this is valid for CLEPA, for RTMA, and of course for ASEA and our national associations, to really reach a maximum of the companies in Europe. Our, let's say, private aim is to focus more than at least thousands entities that will reply, because the more entities we have, of course, the more robust the input will be, and I think that will be beneficial for all of us. So that was in a nutshell, let's say, the perspective why ASEA is so keen in participating in this project. I would like to thank you for participation today, and really I'll be happy if you can spread the information to whomever you can. The more in-depth analysis we are going to have in coming weeks, I think the more beneficial it will be for us, for you as those who are replying, and we hope it will be beneficial for the European Commission as well. So with that, I would like to thank you again and encourage you to reply and disseminate. And of course, if there are additional questions, you can contact the project leaders and of course ASEA directly as well. And we are happy to help you with additional information, not only on the questionnaire, but also on the whole project. Thank you, Jakub.
Thank you, Peter. And now we will continue to the next session, which is the presentation of the survey, which will be presented by Federico Brunoli, DICE work package leader responsible for the survey. So please, Federico, you can take the screen and continue by the presentation.
The aim of our whole activity is to provide the project and therefore also the development of a proper strategy on skills for the whole automotive sector with reliable information on the priorities of actions that are related to skills. This aim, the partnership has put a lot of effort in developing a questionnaire, which is currently available with a specific tool that you may find online in a link that I will explain you later. This slide is meant to describe what is the structure of this questionnaire. Before starting describing in detail the structure of the questionnaire itself, I would like to point out some key points. The first one is that we have estimated an overall time for filling in all the information that is between 30 and 40 minutes. Most or a significant part of our effort has been put in providing you with a structure that is self-guiding, but also leaving the target of the questionnaire itself with the possibility of expressing the replies in an open manner, so that it will be a duty of the project partners later on to harmonize and normalize all the results. The second key point that I would like to outline, and we have also put it in writing in another slide, is that all the information that we will be gathering will be treated as strictly confidential. No information will be provided to any source outside the partnership if not aggregated, and the only aim and the purpose of this information gathering is... Hello? Yeah. And the only purpose of this information gathering is to aggregate the results, elaborate them in a statistical manner, and provide therefore reliable info to the project. So you see that, as it has been outlined by Jakub already before, one of the most important activities that we have been carrying out before, it was to link and to identify the most important drivers of change which are affecting the needs of new skills in the sector. These drivers of change will be leading to the need of new skills for the automotive sector, and these new skills will be needed by one or more job roles within the different organizations. Now, with the questionnaire that we have online, we can obtain replies from companies, both large corporations and SMEs, of the whole different subsectors which are composing the European automotive industry, but also on different organizations, such as, for example, industrial associations, chambers of commerce, public and private employment agencies, all these kind of organizations that may have information on the sector, even if they do not belong to a specific company. So the next point that we will be investigating is what we have called VET provision mechanisms, which are basically, we are asking what are the most relevant ways of providing training and education according to the opinions of the interviewed stakeholders. Of course, if there is a skill that is then provided to a specific job role, then it has to be recognized at least at European level. And this is the reason why in section 4 of the questionnaire we ask for the currently used recognition and qualification framework, as well as we ask of opinions on which may be the mechanism to recognize skills at European level. Section 5, instead, is more on a topic that is relevant for most of the industries at European level. That is the key point or the problem to be able to recruit and attract new and talented young workforce. The last two sessions are mainly asking the audience and the stakeholders the need or the will to cooperate on several other activities besides drives, which are in the skills agenda. And then we need just some organization and contact details, which again will be treated confidentially and according to the GDPR regulation. So, going a little bit more in detail, as I was saying before, no data and no information will be used in a disaggregated manner and disseminated outside the drives partnership. The general information that are asked in the first session are relevant for us to aggregate the results when we will elaborate them, because we need to be able to identify at least the category and some information on the stakeholders in order to create harmonized and properly aggregated results in a later stage. So many questions are not mandatory in the questionnaire, but we ask you and we strongly recommend to fill in all the questions in order to allow us to have the best possible picture of the automotive sector. One other technical feature is that while filling in the questionnaire on a computer, you may leave the questionnaire unfinished, and then if going back on the same computer, the cookies will support the reopening of the survey at the same stage of implementation that you left it. So the second, let's say, the core part of the questionnaire is when we investigate the link between the drivers of change that we have identified, the skills that are required to tackle these drivers of change, and the job roles which will be needed to possess these skills. So we have a list of several proposed drivers of change, which we have identified through the analysis of background knowledge, starting from the Gear 2030 report and integrating it with many other available documents, which we will be providing you as a proposal in the questionnaire, so that you are able to rank the importance of this driver of change and to indicate which are current or emerging skills which are going to be required in the workforce, based on the drivers of change that you have identified. And then there is a third level of link that is associating the skills that you have identified as important to a specific job role. When we speak about that provision mechanism, we have a specific focus on apprenticeship, and we are also asking you which are the best approaches and strategies to provide education and to provide the required skills within your organization. So, for example, what is the most suitable approach, both for initial education and continuous training? As I was saying before, the strategy to provide it, including the skills transfer mechanism, and a specific focus on apprenticeship, as it is already recognized as one of the most important points to be analyzed when we speak about that provision. So the fourth part is needed to obtain and structure the information of the current use that you already have on specific recognition and qualification standards, and on how much you perceive as important a harmonized harmonized activity at European level. And as I was saying before, it is also important for us, in order to evaluate the possibility of activating also other projects funded by the European Commission, to understand your point of view about the need to increase the attractiveness towards new and talented workforce. The last, let's say, technical session is very simple, and we say, as Peter was saying before, we already have a network, let's say, or a database of more than 400 stakeholders. We would like to enlarge this network, and we would also like to start structured cooperations with the members of the network itself. So this is just a very simple question and a very simple answer, asking you the need or the possibility to cooperate in the future. As I was saying before, we also are requiring to provide us with some information on your organization and some contact details. There is no other need of obtaining this info, but to have more information, valuable information on you, and to allow us to elaborate and harmonize that. And I strongly underline one more time that no information will be used in a disaggregated manner and disseminated outside the DRIVES partnership. So I hope I've been clear, and I would hand over then back to Jakub. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Federico, for introducing the questionnaire. Now there is a Q&A session. So if there are any questions to ask, please raise it in the tool, and we are here to answer it. Okay, if there are not any questions right now, I would like to ask you, Federico, to quickly show the page of the survey, the documents there, where to click, and how to get to the survey.
This is Christian. Hello. This is the link where the survey is available. We ask to have a deadline within March 21st, and if there will be or there will arise new questions, stakeholders can send an email to this support email you see on the screen, and we will reply to them directly.
Okay, so this is basically the page of the DRIVES survey. You can enter here survey for companies or survey for organizations. It's described on the top to which survey you belong, and of course you have also available printable version under that that you can see that, and some additional documents on the bottom. And now we can go to questions and answers that we are having here in the chat. So I will start from the top. Christina is asking, how long does it take to complete the survey? We have written that it's approximately 40 minutes. It could be also less, so I would say from 20 minutes to, as it is open survey, so you can add there as much as information you want, so up to what time you have, but basically it should be around half hour, or that's 20 minutes as I said. And good thing is, as it was described, that you can, if you are still opening the survey from the same web browser, you can start one day and you can continue with another day and so on until you finish the survey. Maybe Christian, you can show how it works when you click to the survey, that it will ask you if you'd like to continue your previous work, and you will see that. Is there a possibility to postpone the deadline in your? Of course, we will be happy if you are able to provide the information as soon as possible. But if you will need some extension on the deadline, let us know, and we can discuss that. In the beginning, in the questionnaire, you can note your company's NACE code, and whereas import is not mentioned, sales are. In NACE code, there are listed NACE codes as a questions and as a one question, and you have a possibility to put there other. So feel free to add the NACE code that you have or your partner have, and if it's not listed there in this NACE code questions, so please feel free to add any NACE codes that you have as others. Exactly. Please, there's another question. If this question should be shared to your contacts and to your partners, definitely, as also Peter mentioned, please, we will be very happy if you will share this questionnaire with your contacts from the automotive domain that you feel that can answer, and we will be very happy if it will be shared on this level also by you. So please feel free to share it as much as you can. So thank you for that. Exactly, as Marius now wrote, that more participants from automotive sector, the better results we could have. Definitely, that's definitely that. So please feel free to share it in your contacts. Okay. Of course, yeah. Can you skip some fields in the questionnaire? Mandatory fields in the questionnaire are highlighted by a red color, and you can, that are mandatory questions, there is just a few of them, and the rest is optional. So you can skip some of these questions and fields that you feel that it needs to be skipped, but of course we would be very happy if you will answer as much as possible questions you can, but at least these mandatory questions. Survey results. That's when do you send us the report of the survey results? Till mid of this year, we would like to have analyzed these results. As colleagues said, that the results will be aggregated. No one will see like a single answer, but will be aggregated which skills, which and other strategies and so on are needed, and opinions of the sector. And we will inform you about that. So please also in the questionnaire you have possibility to. It's not a mandatory question, but please fill it in. You have possibility to enter your email, and you will be directly contacted with the latest information and with all other information that we are having from that skills agenda in automotive domain. Okay, so. Definitely also in the questionnaire, if you are working in some projects and also on the European level and you have projects there, you can write it in the questionnaire and we will be in touch, because also one of the things of, one of the aims of this blueprint project, what we are, is to harness the existing initiatives and cooperate with them as a framework on that European level. So it means to see what activities are running here, what we can also cooperate. So yes, please contact us. You have a possibility to write also if you have some national projects, if you are doing some national project, if you are involved in that project, and we can cooperate on the skills agenda. That's, as we said, one of the main objectives to start this continuous cooperation within this sector on the skills agenda. Are there any other questions or comments? Please, you have all documents that what we showed now available on the Drive survey webpage. The deadline is now set to 31st of March this year. You have a possibility to contact us on the survey at Project Drive EU. You can directly contact us. You will also see on the webpage of the project, which is accessible from this survey webpage. Also, our contact as a coordinator, or you can directly contact your direct contact from your direct partner from a Drive project. So please feel free. We are happy to receive any feedback from you, any information from you, and we will be very happy. And it's very needed if this survey will be shared as much as possible within the automotive sector to your contacts, your stakeholders, and your partners. So please feel free to share it to all your value chain or your contacts. I would like to thank you very much for attending and joining to this webinar. We are very happy to cooperate with you, and we are looking forward to your answers. So thank you very much for attending today, and have a nice day.